Welcome to Simon Says, where facts comes first. It's your host, Jenny Simon. And today I have a special guest with me, my gorgeous daughter, Emily Rapier. So I'll take a quick break. Don't touch that dial. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode. Welcome back. And today, as I mentioned, I have with me my gorgeous daughter, Emily Rapier. Hi, Emily. And welcome to Simon Says.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Great. Today, we want to talk about the National Queen Show and our involvement in it. So I brought my daughter, and she was much more involved than I was. And so she's going to tell us her role and explain to us some of the misconceptions that is going around out there. So, Emily, the floor is yours.
Well, let me first say that it's extremely unfortunate that I'm here right now having this conversation. It's an extremely unfortunate thing. And my involvement in this year's pageant, I'll start by saying how I know the former chair, that's Siobhan. I knew Siobhan. She's a fashionable woman. And she loves fashionable clothes, and that's how we first connected with each other. And I've expressed to her prior, maybe about last year, my passion for queen shows and pageants, and telling her that I want to do that in the future. I want to do my own pageant because I grew up with my mom, who's had amazing pageants, and I really enjoyed that. I'm into the creative arts. I am a dancer from the age of 3 years old. I'm a choreographer. I am a vocalist, and I'm into the creative arts on a whole. So I like creative direction, and it's something that I'm looking to do in my near future as well. So Siobhan knows me and my personality, and she knows all of this about me. And when we attended last year's Carnival Queen Pageant, last year is a unique one. I'm not knocking any of the organizers from last year. They did not have a lot of time to pull the show together. I'll say that. The least amount of time that they've ever had before as a result of COVID. And the show, was not at the highest standard. There were some things that could have been done differently, with some different things put into place, including having more time to get the girls ready for the show. And at the pageant, she was saying, wow, I would really love to help out Spice Mass with this pageant, and I know she also has a history in throwing amazing events. If you don't know, she's a great events planner. Her parties are always amazing. That's of course in St. Lucia. That's not in Grenada. But I knew a lot of her history. She has a great network, and she's a woman who gets things done. And this I know more now after being involved in the Queen Show with her. So I'm just giving you guys a little bit of the history about her and about myself. So she has great shows, and she says she's going to get something done, and by tomorrow it's already in the works. And she works very, very hard. So she said to me, she says, I have the responsibility of Queen Show this year. I am chair of the pageant. I said, wow, congratulations. And she said, I know how you feel. I know you're passionate about pageantry in Grenada and young women in Grenada, and I would love for you to help me with this. And I said, sure, I'm so happy. And she didn't have to tell me anything else. I was already ready, you know? And then I was excited to let her know that I have a space, as a separate thing that I'm passionate about, which is creative arts in Grenada. I have a space that I renovated, which is my mom's space. And I renovated prior to COVID, which was tough for me. But I wanted to get this done because I wanted a space where creative individuals can come and practice and work on their craft or show their craft at a low rate, because I just thought it was so hard and so expensive for creative individuals to practice before they can even get on stage or have their own shows to get money, make money. So I wanted to create a space like that, and the space it's still not finished, but it's just about finished, good enough where persons can use the space, and we started using the space. So I was like, please come and see the space. This space would be great. It's called Kumba Creative Studio, and it's a non-profit organization. So when creative persons come and use the studio at a very, very reasonable rate, that goes straight into the non-profit organization. So it's for creatives and it's built by creatives. So I showed her the space. It's like a dance studio. It has mirrors from floor to ceiling, from the front and from the back, so that you could see yourself, you could see what you're doing. You're not just in an empty space practicing and you're not sure how you look. And that's really important when you're performing on stage. You know, how you look, you need to look comfortable, and you need to be confident in how you look. So you need to practice that. So I showed her the space, and it's a big room. So it's not as big as a stage, but it's one of the closest things that we can get so that we can practice walking. And she saw the space and she's like, wow, this is perfect. This is great. This is where we'll rehearse.
No, you said it was at a very low rate.
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying that rate just includes utilities and to pay someone to clean.
Right. So yes, the rate at first, I honestly was trying to do this thing at an even lower rate, and I realized, okay, it's not making any sense because we can't even cover our costs, and we can't even afford to have the space cleaned, but space needs to be cleaned for persons to use them. So yeah, so the rate is literally to cover electricity and cleaning of the studio. Water, yeah. Mm-hmm. And what's left over sometimes is probably like $5-10 for the hourly rates, and that will just, so it's not even much of a donation, but it is still a donation to the nonprofit. So that's what that is for.
Okay, so that's about you and what you do and all of that. Folks, before we continue, I want you to listen to this clip, and then we'll dissect it, and we go on to explain exactly what happened and how it happened. Picture.
I think this law was 4 minutes, so if I may repeat and 0 input.
Bounded, bounded. 4 minutes, nothing less to do what he's saying late.
Government, the lead pipe and center, they have to equally pursuit. No matter what the government does, no matter what the Honorable Andy Williams does, no matter what the Honorable Ron Reddy does, all the good things that they continue to do, they have all kind of negative things to see, because their agenda is to see the back of this regime. Their agenda is to cause people to think and believe otherwise. So yes, good things are happening in this country, but they would still paint good things as though it's bad, giving the impression that it's bad. And the minute you decide, well, you kill a bite the hand that's eating you, you just can't. You cannot be looking for benefits, right? Looking to make money. And don't be fooled when they think they were volunteering and they were doing it free. You ask them, or where was the rehearsal and all the things done? Was it free? And when they put makeup on the face or faces of those who are vying for, vying to become the national queen, was it very clean? Free? From your pocket? No. So they're feelings. And that is what you want to see. Because we're on their podcast, we're on radio and so on, running them out of the government, running them out of the minister who's responsible for spice smells. But you want to still be able to function, right? To come in.
And that's clear, right?
Multi-billion dollars product or industry is all kind about in itself. How can that be right? You see, some of these people, they will not watch sales because they will be on their podcast talking about their patriotic, talking about the Southern country, and they have been in this business for X and Y, and it's victimization, and it's political interference, and killing on and it's criminal. Well, welcome to the classroom of, Grenadians who have been screaming and partying for 20-something years. So why do you pray?
Are we coming on right after, or is you going to finish something?
Stomach pain. And the same thing is it's simple. All of a sudden, because this morning, curiosity, the number of people about music and booms, like everybody saw in your crying on because when that individual resigned, she resigned with all of them, meaning all of them gone. They no longer are. They're gone. And she will not be able to attend all these events and play anxiety. She will not be able to players know this conjunct belongs to them. That little pack that they formed. Right? She beats up. She's upset.
Stand by.
Well, what's wrong with that? You need upset.
5, 4.
What's wrong with that?
Yes, I want to apologize for having to play that clip on Simon Says. I hope it doesn't have to happen again. But I had to bring this to you so that you can see and hear for yourself. Instead of me coming and tell you, this is what was said. But as you know, Simon Says deals with facts. We don't sit down and make up stories so that people could listen to us. We bring facts. And this is what we are about to do at the moment, to bring to you the facts of the matter of the pageant, the build-up towards the pageant, I should say, and why we are where we are at the moment. And as Emily said earlier on, we went on board because of Siobhan Lloyd. Likewise, she heard of the pageant that I and was about 3 other friends of mine at the time had put together. And if I must say so myself, one of the best pageants, if not the best pageant ever held on this island. And she asked for my help. I was there as a backup for the most part, giving advice in some cases, and just as support for the young ones like Emily, who are coming up and doing it. We can't do this forever. The ones like Auntie Pat, that is Patricia Henry McIntyre, she was there as a backup. We had Miss Jennifer Woodruff, but we are all in turning age, and we are allowing the young people to take over. Emily was ably aided by Miss Joelle Frederick and another young lady, Karen. No, and that's what it was. That's what it was. I want to have Emily speak to you, really, about the sponsorship of the program and how it all started. We started this in April, right? And I want to deal with sponsorship for makeup first, right? And these things are not things we sitting here and make up. There's a page. Spice Must has a page. And if you go on the page, you don't have to go far. If you go on the Facebook page, you would get all this information, which the minister and his friend there should have done. Or the minister could have spoken to the chairman or the CEO of the Spice Must Corporation, and he would have gotten the information that he was looking for. So we're not here making up stories. But let's start, and I want to say to Emily that in the 70s and in the 80s, that's before she was born. This is what Queen True used to be. There used to be a nice build-up. You go to a tea. Those of you from that era would remember. You got all dressed up and go to the tea and the fashion show. And that's when you get to pick your girl who you want to pack, because you get to see them. Not just on the night, you don't know who is who and nothing about them. So we were trying to bring back that feeling, right? And that's what we did. So Emily, tell us about some of the sponsorship of the program.
Okay. So we'll start with makeup. And there is a wonderful woman by the name of Jillian Hines. I know separately because I visit her spa. And I remember walking in one day to this beautiful display of makeup. I do makeup. I'm a makeup artist as well. And I said, Jillian, are you coming out with your own makeup line? This was months ago. And she said, yes, I'll be launching soon. And it's called Glow Cosmetics. And she was just so passionate about it. And I wished her all the best. And I was so excited for her. I have some of her products to this day. And that's how I know Jillian, this wonderful lady called Jillian. Now, when Siobhan met with me and started speaking to me about where she's at in terms of the pageant, she said to me, we have an official makeup sponsor. And do you know Jillian? I said, of course I know Jillian. And then she said, well, Jillian has offered to be our official sponsor. So I want to take this time to shine a light on Jillian and say thank you to Jillian and Siobhan for making this happen. So Jillian is the official was the official sponsor for the National Carnival Queen Pageant this year. And she was also one of the speakers at the retreat, which we had for the young ladies. She spoke to them about their skincare and feeling great from the inside and how that can help you feel even better and look better on the outside. And then they each got their own personal makeup kits from Glow Cosmetics. You can follow her on Instagram. The name of her spa is Evoke. And you can do plenty of things there. Your nails, you can do your brows, your lashes, pedicures, waxing services. And she's really, really good. The area is just such a nice environment, you know. So she sponsored the makeup for the girls. They got their matching done, their shade matched, and they got their own personal kits with their foundation, highlighter, lashes, all of that was given to them absolutely for free. So makeup was catered by Evoke, Miss Jillian Hines. And not only just the products alone. When the girls got ready for the launch of Spice Must, we were at Evoke getting their makeup done. And it was done by Jillian and some other makeup artists. So, you know, we used her space as well.
Every time
every time they had appearance, their makeup was done by Jillian and her supported makeup artist. So yeah, that was that for makeup. So I don't know.
and yeah. So I don't know when I did makeup for the girls and got paid for it, but let's move on. You know, one of the things I wanted to mention also, that after many, many years, Miss Lloyd single-handedly got sponsors for the 7 girls. Corporate sponsorship was a thing of the past. For the past few years, the Spice Must corporation. They had to fund the Queen Show in its entirety, right? And it was never enough money because they didn't have the money to do so adequately.
Yeah. Girls would get their own money, and so whoever could link with who can get extra money. And then the other girls are sort of at a disadvantage, because maybe they don't have that network or they don't have access to that amount of money. And some of the girls who did were able to get outside sponsorship, and that was allowed. So that was unfortunate. And this year, the girls have had Spice Mass, their portion, and that's in addition to what Spice Mass,
$1,000 each.
Yes.
She was able to raise from corporate sponsorship a whopping $70,000.
And that was catered to their dress and their costume, so that they can have free reign, so that they can bring whatever idea they have to life.
Execute it.
Yes, and then the rest, they can actually have money to take bus and come to get a taxi so that they can stay late at rehearsal. You know, especially some of the girls who are coming from the country. Miss Carriacou needs money to come down, and they don't have to dip in that same money that they need for their costume and their dress to, let's say, get an outfit for the tea party or, you know, something like that. Purchase a pair of shoes to rehearse in, or purchase your shoes for the night of the show and your accessories. So, I mean, it was a huge change and a huge help this year to have corporate sponsors on board. And we'd like to thank all the corporate sponsors and Siobhan for making this happen. She amazed me, really. When we would have an idea, she's like, let's do it. And then somebody might say, oh, well, that might be costly. She's like, I'm going to make it happen.
Yep, and it did.
And it did.
So speaking of Tea Party, you just mentioned, take us from April, from the beginning, when we started to groom the girls and do all the build-up towards Majestic Night. Take us through that. Let us hear.
So let's start at the beginning. I was always in favor of having auditions for the Queen Show. I think, especially now that not all of the parish pageants are actually happening, and I think there's a difference when somebody decides, I am going to go for this, versus someone takes you and say, you go for this.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference when internally I decide I want to do this, I want to go on this journey. And I think that really shown this year with the quality and the personality and the character of the girls that we got this year who came on audition. So first, there was an audition. Siobhan wanted to have an audition. She got kicked back for that. She had her audition. It was great. It was amazing. And she wanted to have the audition by a particular date because she wanted the girls to have enough time before the launch so that they can rehearse before they make their first appearance.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to change the date because certain days, as she said, no, I need whoever's there to have enough time to be ready to go on stage for that first appearance. I agreed. And she says, Emily, can you do the routine for the launch? I said, of course. I was so excited to be able to work creatively like that because there's not a lot of opportunities here in Grenada. So she says to me, do you know Rihanna Warren? I said, of course I know Rihanna Warren. You know, because she's St. Lucian, remember? So she's like learning all these new people, you know, and meeting them and saying, wow, I didn't know we had all these talented people. We need to put their talents on showcase. I said, of course I know Rihanna Warren. She's like, what do you think about her work? I think she's amazing. She's like, me too. I want her to do outfits, to design outfits for the young ladies for the official launch. So mind you, this is something you would have to take out of your sponsorship money to get money for, to purchase your outfits for that. This year, they did not have to do that, right? That was, I don't know, she found someone, a network, a friend in high places. It was not Spice Mass, and she got that sponsored. Now, Rihanna Warren and her partner, they own a company called Modest Muse. I'm going to use this opportunity to let people know about the sponsors as well and to give them a big up because of all this noise. Yeah, that's what we were trying to do.
Siobhan was concentrating on working with locals and exposing them and showing up their talent.
And new people or people that needed that push that's probably not around because they recently opened their physical shop, Modest Muse. I think maybe just a couple months. I mean, she did work. I don't know if it was from at home prior, but they opened their atelier shop where you can walk in and get your stuff adjusted to you. You can create your wedding gowns, or she does a lot of prom dresses and stuff like that. And
that's in St. Andrew?
Yes, that's in St. Andrew. That's in Grenville. Modish Muse, again, you can find them on Instagram. Really great company. And when we went to Grenville for the first time, it's funny because she didn't even tell me to come up there with her. She went with them on her own. You know, it wasn't like I had to show up at everything. She asked me to do what I wanted to do. Anything else I wanted to come along, I could. And I was in Grenville, and I was just on the phone, and I just called to check in. And she's like, oh, we're in Grenville at the thing. And I was like, wow, I'm in Grenville. So I went over to Modish Muse to see them do their fitting. Well, not their fitting. That was the first meeting. So they get their measurements. And I remember speaking to Rihanna, and she was so excited. And I said, how do you feel? You know, your pieces are going to be on stage. And she's like, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. And they tailored each outfit. They got to know the girls and wanted to tailor it to their personality and make sure it fit their body type. And that's the sort of guiding that you need for these girls. You know, I understand that each girl has a chaperone, but also the chaperone is giving their time for free, and they have their lives, and it's not easy to do it on your own. So to have the team as well, backing the girls, supporting the girls, and shaping the girls, as well as the chaperones, is something that we wanted to do this year that's really needed. And that's why we wanted to have rehearsals so often and not just leave it all to the chaperones to do on their own, you know, because again, a chaperone can text and say, this morning I want you to wake up and drink lemon water and work out for 15 minutes. And that may not happen. And she might be like, yes, she might not want to tell you that she didn't do it. She might lie because she doesn't want to disappoint you. It's a whole heap of things can go wrong. So we had this one place and this time where we meet up and we say, this is where we rehearse. We all come together and this is the things that we're working on. So Modish Muse was a great experience. And this was actually their first capsule, their first collection that they were able to do it. Because everything was individual. And after that, you may not need to do pieces for a whole group of people. And she was able to do that for the first time as a result of this pageant. So thanks to Modish Muse and Rihanna, the girls looked absolutely stunning. And I believe, well, I'm not sure what's happening now, but she was also carded to do their sashes for the night of the show. And you can go back on Spice Mass launch and see the outfits they were wearing. They were absolutely amazing. You would think they were machine ready from somewhere, but this is right here in Grenada, and this is what we want to do, that we can produce these things right here. So that's Modish Muse. And then we went straight into the studio to rehearse our jewelry that day. Yes. Well, also this year, Spice Mass has, and kudos to Spice Mass for that, they have a team of photographers and videographers and editors working to follow the different events, to show back, you know, like what's happening in the background, behind the scenes, and all of that is being posted on Instagram page. And we took full advantage of that with the Queen Show. So, you know, you can see all of that. There's actually an interview video with Rihanna speaking about Modish Muse and her journey. And so that's the same thing with the glow. You'll see Jillian on Spice Mass page talking about. So she also gave them a spotlight. She didn't just do it and mention it in a caption. They had their own time to shine as well, a video catered to them, which was screened. That was such a brilliant idea. So the shots, the headshots that you saw when we launched the girls online, that was taken by Damien Jacob. Makeup done again by April Cosmetics. And the jewelry that she used was from Tamara, Tamron by Tamara. Nice, naturally made, eco-friendly jewelry, artistically done with paint and so on. I know a lot of you support Tamara. Tamara has been in the business for a while, and there's a good reason why, because she's great at what she does. It's very artsy, crafty, beautiful, natural pieces. If you like that sort of stuff, check her out. Thank you, Tamara, for allowing us to use your jewelry. The girls look amazing. We just wanted them to have this beautiful piece of jewelry and their beautiful skin tone. It looked great. The makeup wasn't too much. And I like that because you don't want to change how you look. We wanted to see these girls, and a lot of them are pretty young as well. So we wanted to present them in a really nice and untouched as possible way. But at the same time, it's a pageant, so we got to get dolled up and get pretty. So that was that. Tamara by Tamara for those pictures. So the pictures, the launch, well, before the launch, we started practicing twice a week. That's Wednesdays and Fridays at the studio with me for 2 hours long. And we came up with a routine, Joel and I. Joel was there. We did basics, first of all, basics in walking and pageantry, facial expressions. Joel really helped us in that regard because she also has experience on the runway as a model. We did not get enough time to work with them in terms of their speech. So we thought, you know what? You don't want to put them in that uncomfortable situation. We really wanted to put the girls first here. We didn't just say, come here, you'll go on, you'll speak and you'll do this and that. No. You're not ready to speak? We'll present you in a unique way. You will walk. We've been working on walking because it was only 2 weeks, and thank God we had that time. Also, Siobhan she really wanted to involve the past queen, because after they win, sometimes that's it. That's all that happens. And she really wanted to change that this year. So we thought it was a great idea to have the past queen introduce the girls at Spice Mass. And she is a great speaker. So we thought, well, there we go. So we had the girls write their bios. And we had Risa McIntosh come to the studio as well. Thank you for coming to the studio and dedicating your time after work as well, Risa. And she was so excited to do it as well. She's such a sweet girl. And that was that. On the night, when you go and you see the video, Risa spoke. She came and she walked with them at first. And that was it. And she came to the side. And then the girl stood at the back. And then she then said, contestant number 1. And she spoke for them while they walked. And that was it. It was nice. It was controlled. They were able to do their best. Nobody had to laugh at them or anything like that. Nobody had that opportunity. So that was the launch. She actually created a group with a lot of the past queens, the numbers that she could find at the time, and was speaking to them, about their experience and, what can she do better. And the girls were like, thank you so much. Like, this is the first time this has happened. And we feel so seen that someone cares about us after the fact, And if it was up to Siobhan, all of the queens would be in the show. Although that's not possible, but she was like, is there a way we can involve all of them in this? Yeah.
Did have quite a few of them at the tea pageant.
Yes.
In which each contestant this year had a previous contestant or queen sitting with them at the tea party at their table.
Yes. So we talk about the tea. We could talk about it all for the tea party. Again, outside sponsoring. Like, she did not ask Spice Mass. These things were happening.
And we need to stress that the events was sponsored by corporate sponsorship or individuals and not Spice Mass Corporation. So when Minister Ron asking for accountability and it's well out the line.
Because anything she used Spice Mass money for or tried to, she sent in the
transparency.
Yeah.
But as I said before, that's what the chairman of the board, and you can extend it to the CEO.
Finance.
There's a finance person, director as well.
Yes.
For you to find out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're not paying attention. Yeah. They don't care really. What they care about was destroying the product because it was perceived that they were NNPIs.
And that you were running the show.
And I was running the trend. I was an NNP, and among others. And the names that were called, these people had nothing to do with the organizing and the preparation that was taking place. Ms. Brenda Batiste was asked to host the show. Mr. Kenyon Batiste offered himself to co-host with Brenda Batiste.
Yes, he reached out and said, I'm so happy. Please
invite me a part of what he was seeing. Ms. Sherman Wells was asked to host the costume section because, like it or not, she brings these costumes to life on stage.
That's nostalgic.
When she hosts. We've seen her in the March Raw for years. We put her in Kitty's Carnival. If you're not there, you feel like you are there sitting down, looking. Sometimes you feel like you're even carrying the costume. And she does that well. We can't take that from her. So she was asked to host that section. Mr. Mikey Hutchison, he was asked to stream the event. That's what he does. And he was asked to stream the event.
And TNR.
Well, TNR is doing, I think, the pace review.
No, I think, I'm not sure. I think TNR was streaming it and Mikey was bringing it online. I'm not sure. But,
well, they don't even do it like that. However, I don't know. They were being hired.
yes.
They were being hired. And yes, SMC would have had to pay for that. But you know what? They didn't even get the chance to speak money. There were no invoices sent in yet for those.
And I'd like to say here, again, Siobhan is a St. Lucian. And she's not huge on politics at all.
But she doesn't know about politics.
So that's what I'm saying. So she doesn't know anybody's political affiliation. She just, in her own research, found out who was qualified for the job. And she's going to have her judgment based on what she's heard and seen. And she is the person responsible for bringing the vision to life. So she must be able to use the people that she thinks are good enough for the job. You know, she doesn't know anything. People are telling her who's this and that, and she's like, "What's going on? Why is there so much political involvement here?"
Yeah,
she was just absolutely.
And it's just from practically the beginning. She just never said it to us.
Mm-hmm. No,
she just kept going, and we kept going, and we kept going. But when it got overwhelming, she couldn't go any further.
Well, it was at the point where they took her responsibility from her, saying that, you know, when she got the email saying that we will have the last say as to who is doing what, then why have her? Yeah. Why appoint her if she can't make those decisions for herself?
Yeah.
You know, and then she's like, well, then I can't, because my name is attached to this. And if I can make the final decision and the final say as to what I would like to happen on the night of the show, then you're taking my vision away from me.
Yeah, but this is another thing she was not discussing with the board either. She brought everything to the board. Now, the minister saying he would have the last say. It's out of line.
Yeah.
We're out of line. That is not in his forte. No.
It's a national event. It's not a political event.
It's not an NBC event. I said it before and I'm going to say it again.
And that is why there's a board. And that's why Spice Mass has a board. And it's not the ministers of government sitting on the board. Because there's not supposed to be political interference in something like that. You know?
And the chairman of the board complained of being battered.
Yeah, she was
by the cabinet, by cabinet members.
There was a meeting, a Spice Mass board meeting, where a certain individual who claims to be a pioneer for the creative arts and the creative industry said, in front of all the other board members, we must get Jenny Simon removed. We must get her off. And at this time, my mom was not showing up to most of the rehearsals. Yeah, when it was something that, you know, I didn't know about, because I know about performing arts and so on, and I needed to land on her knowing specifically what's required for pageantry, because you can't overstep. You know, there's a line, there's boundaries. And I would call her and say, "Mom, can you come and see the routine? Is it too dancey? Is it too much? I want to have it," I said, classy. I want it to look like queens and not dancers, but I wanted to do something together. So I would call her and say, "Come and see the routine." And she was like, "No, girl, this is too much steps. We need to dial it back here." And that was it. You know, and we had
many for support.
That's it. It's so surprising.
And Siobhan would lean on me sometimes for advice on certain things. I would give my advice. I would come every now and then, look at the girls, see where they're going, give my comments. When I see they're falling back, I said, "Listen, you all need to put that energy. Let's go. Come on," because it could be tiring. It could be taxing. Mm-hmm. They have to practice their talents. Mm-hmm. They have all the other things to do. So I would be there for support and strength individually. I would call aside one when I see what they're doing and their posture. I would call and say, "Listen, you have to do this. You need to do that. And that's why this is happening."
Moral support.
You understand? Fully. That's it.
Moral support.
That's it.
And we cannot forget to mention Swimwear. This is something else I called her for as well. Because my mom and I run a boutique. And we're fashionable ladies and we love fashion. And so we we decided to bring in, well, Siobhan found an individual by the name of Rianne Gittins. I know Rianne. I didn't know Rianne did swimwear. And I was like, Rianne did swimwear? And she's like, yes, I love her stuff. Karen suggested her. And I was like, okay, well, she's young. And I say, why not? Like, why not give somebody young this new opportunity to start off, to boost their career? Like, why not? You know, like me, why not? Why not? This is what I want to do for my future.
Yeah.
You know, like, why not? I don't understand. Anyways, Rianne came and Rianne designed a specific swimsuit for each girl based on their body type. Again, making sure the girls are comfortable. We didn't want to put all the girls in the same swimsuit because that's unfair. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't add to their body type. We wanted to accentuate each of them, to have each of them look the best they can. So the girls were comfortable with the design. They decided whether they wanted to change, do something else, as well as their chaperones. So it was a collaborative effort. If you weren't happy with it, we changed it. And that's just how it happened. We all gave our advice. I think this should happen here. And, you know, so we had plenty fittings. And these swimsuits are amazing. I'm so proud of Rianne. I couldn't believe for somebody who just started doing swimwear to produce these swimsuits. I'm like, I was in awe. And each time they tried it on, the girls lit up and they were so happy. Each of the changes, I was surprised too. My mom made some of the best suggestions for the girls' body types. You know, like the simplest of things that you would only have because of experience. The only reason why you'd be able to make those suggestions, we were like, wow, that made such a difference. Just making this curve like this line straight instead of curve, or this a little slacker, or making sure the panty is big enough to cover, and all of these things. You know, that's the advice we needed from you and that we got from you, you know. So, Rianne Gittins, girl, thank you. And I hope after this you stick with swimwear because it's for you.
And to get in business from it.
Yeah, she should. So you guys, when you see those swimsuits, I hope they use them because they're already designed and created. That you support Rianne in whatever she does in her future. She's a Grenadian young woman and she's doing an amazing job.
Yeah, we have to talk about quickly. I know time is going. You know, when I started on the narrative, they told me I wasn't having enough time. You, the fans, it's me to get my whole program. We have a whole hour now, and it's still not enough time.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us quickly about the rest of the events. They had the tea party, we mentioned briefly. They had a wonderful retreat.
Yes. Okay, so let me spec a rundown quickly. So the retreat was an amazing day, right? It was an amazing day. So it started off with breakfast, and the young ladies spoke to 3 women, and I don't remember their names, so I'm not going to mention any, but 3 outstanding women in business in Grenada. And they heard about their stories and what they did to achieve that status and that those businesses. And they were amazed. I was moved and inspired by hearing those 3 stories. And then they spoke to a psychiatrist as well, a woman who gave them tips on how to live their best lives. And we also had this little exercise where you all said what you think about yourself and what you think people think about yourself. And it was insane. Each girl, when they said what they thought people thought about them, all of us had to say, "Are you crazy? This is not what we think about you. What you actually think about yourselves is what people see." And almost each girl was in tears at the end of that session. And that's when they also spoke to Jillian. They also had a yoga and meditation session with Malika. Thank you, Malika. Malika Brooks Smith-Lowe. You can also find her on Instagram as well. She has her own yoga practice. And they also learned, do you remember the name of the lady who did the wine and cheese?
Yes, Miss St. Paul.
Miss St. Paul. Serena St. Paul. Serena, thank you. I learned so much. So the ladies learned how to hold a wine glass properly, how to pair different wines with different cheeses. She took us around the world with different wines. And they had cheese balls. Like, it was so nice. It was so fancy to give these girls that opportunity. And this is just apart from the show itself, you know? And we always spoke life into the girls, you know, told them how important it was.
The nutritionist,
Nikki, my girl Nikki. I love Nikki so much. Live Bodies. So Nikki is a health and wellness coach. She's also a trainer. She has a gym as well. And Nikki spoke to the girls about their wellness. And Nikki's not just about the outside, she's about the inside. And she's like, it starts with what you eat in your bodies. And she spoke to them, asked each of them, what do you eat? What is your habit like throughout the day with eating? And she gave them advice, and real advice that they could take into the future. And she also worked with them on Saturdays. So if any of the girls wanted to get free working out, they went to Nikki on Saturdays and they were able to work out. I mean, we worked out a bit when we had our warm-up at rehearsals as well. So they were working out maybe 3 days a week, as long as they attended.
All young local entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it was amazing. The retreat was amazing. We also have to talk about the fashion show. Whoa, that was fun.
Yeah.
So we had an African wear. I wish I should have brought all that with me. But we had African wear, we had swimwear, and we could get the information for you, and we'll put it in the description box below for those who want to know, because African wear and the swimwear was really nice. The African pieces, wow, the patterns were crazy. But in terms of the boutiques, I know that Hot Chocolate was a boutique as well as The Closet.
Yeah.
And nobody got paid for this in terms of their clothes. You didn't have to rent the clothes, nothing. This is something that we, again, did free. It was an hour time. I was there when they were setting up. I helped them with their routine for the fashion show. And it was an amazing fashion show. It was also the first time the girls got on stage. We wanted them to get on stage and speak before the night of the show. And some of them were really nervous, some of them were quiet, and we just had to be like, you guys got this, I'm so excited. Mind you, the back of the fashion show was crazy. If you know fashion shows, it's probably going to be more crazy than the night of the show, because the girls had literally 2 minutes to get in and out of certain outfits. So it was like they had to understand that this is fast paced, like this is what happens backstage. So they got a real test of what that was like.
Was amazed. The audience was so happy they were able to see the girls, and as I said, chose the girls. I spoke to many of them after who said, I know I'm back in now. And they were so excited and ready
For the show.
for Majestic Monday, which is the 6th of August, right? So it was a build-up. And there were many other little things in between that with time constraints we can't go into. The point is, we did a good job.
Yeah. And we were well equipped.
Yeah.
You know,
And it was happening. People were saying, I had people who said to me for the first time they were going to attend Queen Show. And others who were saying before that they would never go back because they're not getting their money's worth. And it's just like a comedy show. People come in there just to laugh and humiliate the girls in some instances. And we were going to make sure that that did not happen this time. So much so we had the girls give us a free look at their talents.
Yeah.
So that wherever they need help, we can do so. We can help them with props, whatever they needed. We were able to do that. We did that.
Yeah.
A few days before the little man, the minister, decided he was going to write this, I call it obscene, email to Miss Lloyd.
Yes. And back to the talent review, you know, there was a little bit of pushback from some chaperones. And we had to explain to them, like, guys, this is about the girls. We don't want any surprises on the night of the show. And we don't want any of the girls embarrassing themselves.
Yes.
And you have to also make sure that the group of us made sure that the girls are respected in their decisions. Sometimes there's tension between the chaperone and the individual, the girl. And, you know, sometimes people don't have the same idea. And sometimes you need somebody on the outside, to come in and say, okay, let's see how we can meet each other halfway. And some of the girls might suffer in silence. And I've been involved in Queen shows, and I know that this happens, you know, and this was not to knock anybody, but this was just to make sure that the girls' interest was at heart and that they were comfortable and that they got all the resources. We linked them with other creatives. You need somebody to help you with this? I know somebody. You need somebody to help you with choreography? I know somebody. You need somebody to help you with your speech? I know somebody. You need somebody to help you with your delivery? I know somebody. And that is what we did in terms of talent, because last year the talent was disappointing. I'll be honest, it was disappointing. Everybody in the audience face was like, yeah, what is going on here? What is
Matter of fact,
going
there was only one talented individual on the stage.
So that was talent. In terms of the judging, actually, Siobhan's ideas were just so on point, and you had the same idea when you told me to suggest this to Siobhan, and I went on, she was like, yes, this is what we're doing. And I was like, perfect. So Siobhan wanted to have different judges for certain categories of the Queen Show. So she wanted to have talented individuals judge the talent. So that, because it's if you know pageantry, walking and stuff, and when you see somebody do a dance and they do all this technique and they do turns, pirouettes and jumps and spins, and you're like, okay, and you're not into it. You're into pageantry, but you're not a dancer. You may not be able to respect that craft, and the individual may not be able to be judged fairly. And somebody can sing and belt long, beautiful notes, and you may not understand how hard it might be, that certain technique it might require, So we wanted to have talented individuals judge talent. So we were going to have someone who sings, someone who dances, someone who knows music, someone who plays the drums, and to just have a variety of talented individuals so talent can be judged fairly. Because let me tell you, this year we have a lot of talented girls. They are so talented. So we wanted them. So it'll be difficult. It will be difficult to choose. So we wanted talented individuals to give them that fair chance of winning the talent segment.
The bottom line is the preparation of the young ladies were going well.
Mm-hmm.
The improvement was amazing, especially what we would say the dark horses in the race. You to see the improvement and where they came from zero to where they were up to the point of us exiting, because we were NLP ads and we needed to move away and give NBC the speed. We need to balance it. Well, we are not the NLP, but I learned that then. What the clip I showed you earlier on, and again I apologize because I myself I know about it. Tilting, those are just films made up for sensationalism for you guys. All Tim.
And all of it is disrespectful to Miss Lloyd's hard work and dedication and the time. She has a job, and a very demanding one at that, right? And she did most of this almost alone. We have to big up Asha as well.
Yes.
Asha was our head chaperone and head supporter. No, let's not forget to talk about the days in the parish. Yeah, could we forget? Because I was so demanding. I couldn't go. Joelle couldn't go. Karen couldn't go. Asha and Siobhan held this down for themselves. You will see the videos because they're already done. We weren't last minute in this thing either. She didn't want to be last minute with anything. And they're already finished. They're going to be, what I hope, they're going to be posted to Spice Mass. Every weekend for the last 2 months, every Saturday and Sunday. So Miss Lloyd working Monday to Friday, coming to rehearsals Wednesday to Friday after work. And on Saturday, she spent the whole day
And Sunday,
the whole day of Saturday and Sunday with the particular girl. So let's say St. Andrew did Saturday and St. George did Sunday. Next weekend was the same thing. Caracou, she went up to Caracou, She and Asha went up to Caracou with Damien and the rest of the team who was filming. And Siobhan as well. That's another Siobhan who does filming. And Renelle as well. We picked them up. That's the camera crew. Went up to Caracou to do the day of the parish with Caracou. And them characters like, oh, somebody from Spice must come up here. Wow. They were distraught. They couldn't keep telling her thank you. You understand? So each parishes are going to be put on display. Each girl got an opportunity to talk in front of the camera, learn lines and use lines. And if you're not in the creative industry, this is such a big thing. This is such a big boost for your career if you want to be involved in the future. Some girls were booked as models already to model costumes for Carnival, for launch of the bands. You understand? So there's a lot of opportunity here. So that's no joke. The amount of work that they and the parents took. I messaged her and I was like, so she's honored me. I said, how are you doing that? I mean, I have a newborn baby. He's just 6 months old. And I have a business. And so there were things I couldn't do. I just couldn't be there as much as I wanted to. And she never asked me to, but I wish I could because I just wanted to be a part of it and I wanted to help her. I couldn't understand how Siobhan was doing this on her own, staying up at night. She was the one, she didn't have an assistant helping her type up anything. She was the one doing the typing, the printing, the emailing, the scheduling, the calling, all Siobhan. And to just keep asking her about people, like just telling her
political affiliation.
You understand? And she's like, well, who is that what? And who is that this? Like, she's so confused.
You know what? At the end of the day, they didn't want to get rid of Siobhan.
No.
They didn't.
No.
Because when she resigned with immediate effect, the minister asked her to stay on.
Mm-hmm. They're asking her still.
They're asking her to get rid of her, but they needed to get rid of me.
Yeah.
And so they pressured her.
To the point where mentally, she couldn't do this anymore. Like, she had to put herself and her mental health first. You know, do you imagine? When things were happening, it was a good thing happening. And they could put pressure on her to the point where she's like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. She has individuals and friends who are involved in other boards of carnivals across the Caribbean. And they were appalled. They couldn't believe that in Grenada, this is what we were doing. And they said, girl, you could. I would have resigned long. I would have resigned because that's disrespectful to my efforts, meaning Siobhan. It was so disrespectful to her and everything that she was able to do with the people she chose to have by her side.
Folks, we are sorry we could continue all day with this because it was, 3 months?
No, it was since March.
Into April, more or less.
Yeah.
To May, to June, and we've been agreed since then. And it's been a while, and a lot has happened. You guys, people were talking about it because they saw the build-up and they saw what was happening. And we are sorry that we are where we are today. And no, I'm not born again of not crying. As a matter of fact, I'm smiling and I'm laughing because I don't have to leave work and go down to the studio to see and to check in and to sometimes babysit my grandson when my daughter is there busy with the girls and their routine, right? And so it's been taxing, if I must say so myself, right?
In the middle of rehearsal, I have to be nursing.
Right? And so we're not crying. We are letting you know that there are stories out there that are false, as always. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that these false stories are coming because I'm accustomed to it. I've been in there and I know of the made-up stories that goes on air. I know about it.
I'd like to say, I don't even want to really focus on that and answer this individual. I wanted to say the sad thing, who I feel sorry for the most, are the contestants. Because we put them first. We put them first. You know? I'm so sorry for them, to be honest. And I'm sorry for Miss Lloyd. I'm sorry for this whole thing that has happened. I was so excited for it. And so was Grenada, as we could clearly see. We had so many videos lined up for Spice Mars that at one point they tell us we had to hold back the video because then the rest of them shows couldn't keep up.
They had nothing matter than they couldn't keep.
We have points and where it is posts on Instagram.
The other chairpersons, they were embarrassing. The Queen Show committee was embarrassing. The other, like the mask and the pad and everything. So they were asking us to phone back, not to upload our events, and so keep it back. It got to that point. Folks, Emily, thank you so much for joining me. I am so proud of you. I'm gonna let you know that I'm proud of you and the work you do and where you are. And a lot of it is self-made. And so, folks, I want to thank my beautiful, gorgeous daughter for joining me here today. I'm so proud of her. It's a wrap. Asha, thank you for joining Simon Says again, for listening to our conversation. I want to say that ask you to join us next week for a next episode of Simon Says. Same time, same place. Keeping them honest. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe. And make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.